So let's get started. We have a smallish group, so you can read 3, and if you have more than 3, throw it in. And the requirement is, I'm going to call you by your first name and come up. And when you come up, you tell me what your name is. All right? So, Bob, start.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Powell. Nice to see you all. I know most of you. Oh, you can't? How's that? Perfect? Okay. So I'm Bob Powell. Thanks for being the videographer, and thanks to all the Lampshade people for doing all they do. Actually, that's not Lampshade people. It's the Jam people. Thank you. So I think I'll read a patient's love song first. Okay. I can't sleep, and so call you again to hear even the dismissive 911 warning me to hang up if things are dire, or push the voice prompts 0 through 4. 0 brings the receptionist's message and beep, then silence. She might recognize my breathing. 1, the refill line, feels like the end of our appointments. You ask that each script be spelled out, the dosage, the pharmacy's number. I turn back time and repeat it for an hour. 2 is for general messages. I tell you not to worry, I'm doing better. I just called to hear your voice, hoping you don't notice the time. 3 is the administrative line, office hours, medical records, complaints. I can't bear to hear it late at night, though on a bad day, I listen to these austere mechanisms of affection. I never push 4, the covered psychiatrist number. I know I promised you I would if I needed to. Her face was kind, but I fear you would abandon me if I do, and who wouldn't flee? You've told me it takes a team, and my Fenway or Yankee Stadium. Fill me with 50,000 screaming fans if it will help. I feel so empty, so alone. I'm reading all love songs tonight. Holy mackerel. The only thing you need to know about this one is that the name Kishki is a pet name. Okay, Kishki is a pet name. Okay, comes at near the end. Holy mackerel. It's too early to talk about fish. It makes me think of seafood omelets. Who thought of that? I'd rather eat goat or Auntie Cece's chopped liver. And won't you come closer? I'm cold. Put your leg over me. Though there's something to smoked salmon or whitefish with cream cheese on a bagel with red onion and capers with tomato, as long as you don't give it too much thought. Doesn't the coffee smell wonderful? Not yet, thanks. Let's stay right here and warm up. It's funny how context changes things. I even like mackerel when it's smoked. And remember the frozen bluefish we were dreading that your Uncle Jay had caught? And I thought, who serves bluefish to guests for dinner? And we were both trying to be polite, and how we were surprised at how delicious it was. Or was it because of the dread it was? I still don't like bluefish much. And now they're all gone. Jay and Gail and all the rest, both our parents, everyone from that generation. Don't the kids seem far? We need to check in with Sarah today. Your breath is like smoked fish now. Smoke purifies the flesh somehow, like a funeral pyre. I wonder if I could be driven mad enough by grief to throw myself on yours. Before you woke, I laid my face close to your mouth. Your tongue looked like a baby tucked between your teeth, sleeping. I love the way your lips make a soft place for mine away from your cheeks before you've had a chance to shave. and that edge still there, and your breath, I want to taste, to swallow it in my guts, Kishki, before we drink our coffee while you're still hard. And third love song. To the stranger who turned in my cell phone at the front desk. This is really hard to see around. It's just for other people. You may want to change the light after my reading. We can get a little more light. To the stranger who turned to my cell phone at the front desk. I might have been the one who welcomed you at the airport without a sign with your name on it, waving at you madly. And don't think if it had been a bad night and in the worst part of town, I wouldn't have been at the Greyhound bus terminal, outside in the dark cold, nervously smoking, waiting. I thought of you as a child beholden to the world, a boy with his finger in the dike, a Christ, and wanted to hold you to my chest absurdly, as if you were not far too old for this. You found it on the way to work out. You found it on the way to work out in the grass outside the gym, where it slipped from my pocket, and were probably just relieved to be able to turn it in and to get on with your day, by now having forgotten the whole thing, while time expanded and stood still for me, and I lost all perspective. A great war seemed announced over. The surgeon who walked towards me with good news about my wife's tumor became conflated with you, or the feeling that some danger had passed for my children. And it is just a cell phone, more easily replaced than a wallet, and every contact in it secure, stored in a cloud in Maiden, North Carolina, by the Apple Corporation, or in another of its 8 worldwide storage facilities. And it's a good thing. And it's a good thing what is possessed by memory there encased in brick and mortar for decades already, and maybe for centuries or 1,000 years, like the heads on Easter Island, staring mutely, not moved by anything, with their backs to the sea, fades quickly with me, fades quickly in me, regarding you, so reminiscent of first love. Otherwise, you might have had to call an ambulance, even the police. And my wife and I, who knows, married now for 50 years, and losing and finding one another again and again, wouldn't have gotten anything done.
Definitely gonna have to change the mic though. Just pull it up. What do I loosen? We should sign people up in order of height, so we'd have to do this over now. Thank you. Like that? Da-da-da. Okay, great. I'm Marjorie Moorhead. Thanks for having a poetry night. Okay. Yeah, I have 2 very recent ones, and I'm going to have to read them weirdly, right? Getting my mouth at the mic and my eyes on my page. Okay. Clearing out the house. You liked pretty things, old lace doilies, eyelet-bordered handkerchiefs, elegantly textured tablecloths. You liked sparkle in jewelry, in shaped glass bottles, fluted vases, flower-patterned dainty dishes, silk scarves that billow with the slightest breeze. Pretty woman, you surrounded yourself in a decorated nest, full of items that pleased your senses, things that glittered like your eyes, colors evoking garden flowers that lived outside your door, iris, peony, lupin, phlox, lilac, rhododendron. Now you're gone. An air of nostalgia wafts through your things as the rooms get cleared out one by one. It's a melancholy breeze, tender tug at my heart, much like the song a lone bird sang so clearly as we woke this day. What was all that he had to say? No one answering, a soliloquy from branch or wire into the morning mist, a prettiness, ephemeral, making its mark, then evanesced. Mom, how will I remember you once the last fancy butter knife, glossy serving bowl, silver dancing shoe is gone? When even the window curtains are taken down, I'll remember the fullness of your song. And sticking on the same subject, kind of chronologically, this is a very recent one. The hard part. This is hard. Oh, the train. Shall I wait? Just one little toot. Is that it? I'll try. The hard part is trying to reach the mic. It could go down like another inch, I think. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right. Oh, and then turn it up. Yeah, that's great. Thanks. Thank you. All right. How's that? If I held my paper here. In the clear? All right. The hard part. This is hard. To see your stuff in piles and jumbles on the floor. To see your house in an uproar. The carpets getting dirty, the lights all turned on. Furniture moved into clumps by the door, ready to be taken out and away. You always had everything just so, and never a light left on if you weren't in the room. Strange, the flowers outside don't know. Despite your absence, they still bloom and grow. Lupins stand tall and pink. Yellow lilies open like stars hanging in a green night. Roses neat and pretty, lined up like buttons on a soft sweater you'd wear. They'll have to do without you now, as will I. The love and admiration you showered us with will morph into misted memory. Remember how I gave you delphinium to plant as a gift one year? The long stems, blue blossoms, didn't return to the garden for a second show. Remember all the mint back there? Fragrant, green, and generous. It grows. I've taken some here to float the leaves in our tea. I wish you could sit and have some with me. Since we're doing 3, I didn't plan on it, but I'll just grab one from here. This is called Pruned. Pruned. Reading my email while eating breakfast toast, a good cratered sourdough. The Woodstock Library sent an invitation to create a pruned poem, blackout or redacted, and I think of the looming solar eclipse. A total eclipse of the sun by the moon, bringing on nighttime for minutes in mid-afternoon. confusing to animals, they say, who may act irrationally. Humans, too, perhaps, who have flocked and flowed into the path of totality in order to immerse in ultimate experience. I was eclipsed years ago by disease, but came back from that darkness. It was an eclipse in slow motion, years of widening shadow darkening my path. I still live in the antumbra, the after effect of all that drama, lingering adjustment having passed the peak trauma. Maybe this makes me a pruned poem. Certain parts shaded out, denied, canceled. But what remains and evolves is an emerging story, unique but universal, its ending yet unknown.
Oh, this is about right. Betsy Vickers. You know, poems are hard to hear without the text in front of you. So, you know, we all do the best for one another. And I think this is, usually mine are just stories that I tell and they're not hard to hear. But I think this one takes a little following, including for me. Find the grain. From the stem end, citrus fruit peels cleanest. Pith comes away with skin, detached, reveals glistening color. The blossom end is flatly plump for orange or grapefruit to sit on. After its frothy spring flower, an apple's calyx blossom end is unassuming. In fall, the ripe fruit snaps off the twig, crisp leaf or two still on, invites acid sweet savor bite, right there in the orchard. No peeling required or desired. Ripping a board with its grain runs smooth. The crosscut chews and roughs. All papers tear cleanest along their grain, like pulling apart parallel strands of yarn. Against the grain, fibers resist, break, shred, send the tear haphazardly into the sheet's plane. Woven fabrics, vertical warp and horizontal weft interlock, resist the tear, more like a person's nature, yet offer two directions to find the human grain. Then I find myself more and more writing sort of domestic poems, which may say more about my personal limited life, which takes a lot of place at home and in the kitchen. And I find that when I'm making dinner at night, well, maybe with a drink in hand, but then I get these inspirations. I'm no Ernest Hemingway, who drank himself into a lot of creativity, but I will say that I think that there's some opening or widening that can happen when you let your mind rest and move into the cocktail hour. Okay, so here's a domestic poem, I guess. Dishwasher, a portrait. Thrice daily in a one-person household, by accustomed habit and practice, the dishwasher loads itself, runs only when full. 5 dinner plates, the 6th, sadly missed, had an accident with a hot stovetop burner. 10 breakfast and lunch plates, a few odd chip saucers, many tea and coffee mugs, crammed in dessert bowls, awkward pots and pans, jammed in silverware, though up and down so not to nest, haphazard plastic containers which come out water-beaded, spatulas, slotted spoons, hither and thither, last in the dog's bowls. Nothing wood, no sharp knives, and never glassware of any sort, a hard rule, hard won from etched cloudy past results. The dishwasher wishes it could be a cool sprinkler on a steamy summer day, children all flying, arms and legs, shrieking joy running through. And who would I be without a complete dog poem? I realized last time I was here 2 months ago and all I read was dog poems, and yet here is yet another. And this one is called Toxic to Dogs. Here's the list. Grapes and raisins, chicken bones which splinter, leeks and garlic, chocolate, cheese, coffee. All my black labs have hung out in the kitchen, alert at every food prep, have pounced faster than a striking viper on accidental drops. True, I've wrestled chicken bones from jaws, pretty much let the rest go, seen grapes caught midair, garlic rejected, chocolate chips snapped up. I've fed cheese, and once saw across the yard one dog tip over a roofer's coffee, lap it up. Not once has there been an ill effect with these iron-stomached retrievers.
Close enough. Yep, good. Good. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hal Coughlin, and I guess I need to speak up a little more clearly and closely. All righty. I am thrilled to know that we can read more than 3 poems, which is why I only brought 3. Anyways, starting out, used furniture and salvage. An overcast, warm afternoon, I see a big old 2-story wood-framed storefront, no longer plumb, needing paint, next to the railroad tracks in an old, well-used Vermont downtown. The uneven stairs, a portal, or is it part of the loading dock? I go in, 20-foot ceilings, cracked cement floor, big barred windows. The air smells used. Looking toward the back of the store, it's bigger than I realized. It fades away, pixelating into shadow and obscurity. Big things from big old houses, complete mantels, archways, columns, and grand entrance doors. Some as is, some with repairs, some priced, others not. Meandering down the wide center path, the oddities appear. Stained glass windows, many church pews, a regiment of resolutely rectangular radiators. Many slate blackboards, small chairs and desks, kids' small chair desk combos. One can only imagine the hours of daydreams. Some things are words I have never put in a sentence before. Bowling alley furniture. Many smaller things, all kinds of tables and chairs, sinks, kitchen, and smaller, piles of glass lighting fixtures ready to be brightened. Dozens of sort of matching upholstered chairs, armoires, and chests, a motel's worth of redecorating. Reaching the end, another loading dock, overlooking a rich tableau of tracks, industrial and regular debris. I realize I'll come back to this store. Seeing how others have used things is pleasurable, but I don't think today I will buy anything. I haven't found anything that matches my clutter. And the building and business in question is right over there. I encourage a visit. It's worth your while. Curator. 9 years old, at a Saturday matinee movie with an older sister and a younger brother, the screen goes dark. After a few minutes, we are escorted out in long lines, getting a ticket to be used on our next visit. Our sister walks us around the old brick urban building as we waited for our parents to come when the movie was scheduled to be over. I spotted it first, a ticket a kid had dropped, and easily beat my brother to it. Thinking back all those years, it seemed to be my first memory of unscripted events, a surprise in my carefully curated youth, something unexpected and something for nothing. The message received, not always verbally, was both of those things are not good things. The conservatism of the middle class. I say I had a happy childhood, only offered nice, narrow choices. After college, looking at a literary life, I didn't see how it could possibly work and became a workaholic, another family tradition. I am uncomfortable admitting I chose the comfort of the known over the challenge of creativity and the uncertainty of knowing where and how I would be able to put together a life. It has been so many years since I could blame anyone except myself for my self-curated existence. Last but not least, the lesser part of a moment. On the way home from work, I stop at a food store. It has been a long day, I'm tired, and will just pick up a few things. Among the groups of people in front of the store, I see her ahead, off to the left. In the larger part of that moment, I know I am wrong. Continuing into the store, not breaking stride, and almost sure I have controlled my face, I pick up a basket and glance for just a moment to where I thought I saw her. I say loudly, but only to myself, "Not again. She died years ago." Moving down the store aisle, I remember when first seeing her this way. I would stop, agonize, and with sidelong glances try to understand why a woman unknown to me would cause me to see something not possible. Never in my direct line of vision, always to the side, always late in the day, I could see some hint or partial similarity about the woman my less conscious mind so wants to see and find again. With gladness and sadness, I admit to seeing her less frequently these days. Glad there is less pain, sad in this, perhaps, the final part of a relationship, among the remains, regrets, and longing. Seeing is still something. The lesser part of that moment, the joy and pleasure, now struggles, sometimes losing, with what follows. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. How's that? I apologize in advance. I'm getting over a cold, so if my voice sounds really scratchy, nothing I can do about it. I've actually not been writing a whole lot of poetry lately because I'm working on my first novel, but this one is recent, very recent. So it's called Moving, because I just moved. Moving. One of the graceful, imbalanced glasses I bought for my daughter's wedding flowers falls, shatters into tiny shards. That marriage is 11 years and 2 children old. No visible cracks that I can see. Packing the symmetrical mirror my brother made, I hope it won't break the way I have splintered off from him. He says, I'm all in favor of legal immigration. I wear a proud descendant of immigrants button. I've already lost one brother, too many glass bottles, as if glass refracts love differently. Now I want to smash everything made of glass against the wall of wickedness and despair. Let it all break. I will walk barefoot on bleeding feet. This one's slightly lighter. This is called My Head is Full of Random Memories, but I can't remember who I've slept with. On a certain stretch of Henry Hudson Parkway, I think of the night we were driving home with P, who once massaged Nelson Mandela at a Rockefeller estate. And as P sped over potholes, his wife scolded him to slow down, for God's sake. Later, she found out he'd slept with all her friends. So she left him, and P joined a sex cult. Or whenever I pull out the yellow platter to make artichoke cheese puff, I think of visiting S in Paris, where we ate an entire loaf of poêlée bread with her married Iranian lover before she had their baby. Every Halloween, remembering M's private yoga class with my friend B's ex, who didn't know that M, whose wife had died the summer before, was already seeing B, except I knew, which made it hard to focus on Warrior 3. How hearing house music conjures F's black hooded descent, but Talking Heads is the whole family dancing while clearing dishes after a visit to MoMA, where the kids didn't understand why framed toothpaste was art. Whenever it rains, I'm at that ramshackle house in Oregon, where C and I ate magic mushrooms my sister gave us, and it turned very dark until soothing showers came. Seeing the implacable Palisades, only to realize my parents, who got stuck in a blizzard on 9W and had to stay at a convent on the way home from buying my 16th birthday gift, a Tiffany watch, don't exist now beyond those cliffs. And this last one is called My Necklaces Have All Oxidized. As if this tired neck doesn't deserve to be adorned. How we sag toward earth with such stealth. When I was a mortal, I wore earrings, bracelets that jangled when I danced like a goddess. Now I've given away my jewelry, even the wedding ring I haven't worn in years. I offer my stripped down self to the gods. Let them dance me back to silver. Thank you.
Yes, this is good. So my first poem comes from a prompt from the Fine Arts Work Center a few years ago, and it's called Donuts. Parked in my car at Nauset Beach, I've devoured 2 donuts while looking at a dingy dawn, which is like looking at my inner sky, a runation of blue. Summer's over. I knew it would end. Some things I couldn't pretend, I never lied about wanting more. Donuts sweeten the bite. Call me folly, call me regret in my celibate threads, half gone in a mouthful of morning, hungering for what we'll never have. These hosannas of honeyed glaze, new flavors for me to savor. So this poem is kind of unusual. I have to explain it before I read it. I belong to a workshop, an online workshop. And what we've done is we've compiled our poems and done collage poems or centos or erasure poems. And so this poem consists of all the lines from 7 other poets. So I've taken fragments and pieces and phrases and put them together. And none of these words have been generated from my poem. So it's just very interesting when we, all 7 of us, read our poems to each other, our voices came through. And even though we were using the same words, it was very clear whose poem was whose. It was amazing. So this poem is called The Letting Go. I'm trying to like it this way, old age, but I want everything back. The quiver and flare, little books straight from the heart, bare arms, candy bars, the exquisite bite the first time. Romance, nothing spoken, only sung. Late summer folds like a spent libretto, scaffold of a life that thins and turns. This existence heavily used, dry bones trembling. Highways and back roads, vanished the scent of lilacs. The world walks on, steps boldly without apology. Things should be hard. I'll take it. Solace in the tug, my new form welded together. Night, a lost diary, absent of expression. Even when days are short, a moment opens, slipping through a wedge of night sky. Let it shine down on every belief I started to rethink, recovering from all that's been undone. Memories, measured by the sun, wrap themselves against the night. And this is about a poets' weekend where we thought we were going to generate poetry. 3 poets' weekend at the funky little farm on the hill. We talk and talk and talk. Talk on the patio among the potted petunias. Talk upwind of the barnyard, leets and bas and cockadoodle-doos. Talk on the couch beneath some rich guy's portrait ensconced in gold baroque. Not one of us a choked throat, our spoken word free-range surge of perennial peeves and provocations, dilemmas and delights, all the terrible things that happened and are happening in the world, all its wonders. We, who figured we put pen to paper, we, in our women who write our dangerous t-shirts, sump the pump to the depths of our respective wells, our final morning alohas over dark roast Kona, a dollop of cream, and yes, 3 bowlfuls of inspiration to go.
My name is Marianne Burke, and this first poem is called A Dark Wood, 1946. Evergreens the color of lake water, depthless, dark, it all comes back. These woods familiar as a jacket worn in the elbows, sleeves. I'd roam for hours below the mountain's hard face, its crags spotted with pitch pine, jump across rocks and streams, graceful as a deer, even with a rifle in my hand. He's gone hunting, they'd think. It gave me an excuse. Only occasionally I'd shoot, hating how the sound assaulted the air, ruined the silence I loved. These deer, my brothers and sisters, the mirror of God, St. Francis said. I looked for signs, antler rubs, peeled bark off trees, fresh dirt on the forest floor, cleared of leaves and duff, a dominant buck's territory. In war's onslaught, we fought, animals convulsed with fear, scraping in blood and excrement, a charged metallic smell in the air. I dream of deer, hear them chewing apples in our yard, their breath snorts of puffed air. Spooked, white tails up, they retreat into no man's land, where I wait in a foxhole, watching men die, the silence broken by animal grunts, haunted by my own breathing. Next one is funeral home. Let us think of you spared, carried gently in the arms of the ocean that's piped through speakers, spreading a hush in Parmeles, where we sit adrift on the parlor couch between time in death's caesura. The funeral director ticks off a list of questions. He wants the facts, reduces you to an abstract. Mother with a capital M. Nowhere will it say how petite you were, that your wedding ring fits my pinky finger, or that tucked into your coffin, you will look like a doll we will never outgrow. Downstairs, he shows us his fleet of caskets, satin-lined, open-lidded, music boxes whose strains are too fine for us to hear, like your voice, utterless, our names dead on your tongue. Even here, the ocean's cold hush. You are lost at sea. To think we must choose a vessel, one that will not float but sink. Mahogany is what we set you in, our mother of pearl, our buried treasure. And then the last one is called Girl in Spring. As trees stick-figured seem shy in leaf bud, that awkward stage before leaves, full-bodied, emerge, when upper branches have yet to fill out, their crowns still delicate, soft as dandelion fuzz, so you discover sprouts of pubic hair, breast buds, wonder at the change, how your body has a life of its own. Ready or not, you're desirable, luscious and green, ripe for the picking. A Daphne, once wild and free, now an object of unwanted advances. No God to transform you into a tree. Thank you.
This good? Okay. My name is Isaac, and I only have one poem for you tonight, and it's called Theo. We were playing house, you and I, catching a mouse, once again, in the cylindrical no-kill peanut butter trap. taking it outside to a different, further location where it wouldn't remember its way home to our home. In the door, behind the rolling bar that held our garbage and recycling and acted as counter space, next to the oven, the refrigerator, and then the makeshift pantry. From the living room, we would hear a plastic snap, look at each other for confirmation, and listen for rustling. One of us would get up and take it outside. Is it the same one? I didn't mind setting it free by the top of the hill in our side yard, where Theo could hang out with Mr. Groundhog, who lived under the dilapidated shed. It wasn't until we left for a weekend in Chicago, visiting your brother and sister-in-law, or was it after you returned from Ohio and I from out west? A week went by, and there was an odd smell. Was it the compost bin? The pantry? The fridge? A piece of fruit left in the bag? Isaac, I think I found the smell. Was it Theo? Did he get stuck, and we weren't here to hear the trap go off, or here to hear him scuttle, scratch, screech in surprise? I don't think that's Theo. I couldn't tell. But that smell reminded me of when my childhood guinea pig Oliver died, but more potent, with a faint hint of stale peanut butter. You took it out, and I cried for that little mouse trapped in a no-kill trap on the floor inside of the door in our house.
Probably a little high. Okay. Before I launch, I remind you, don't run out the door. I'm the last one. Don't run out the door. There are cookies and drinks back there, and you can blab with each other. Oh. In praise, Vivaldi clearly sensed it. The four seasons of our earth, gorgeously singing his praises to the changes we know. May the joy of the first crocus and the spring peepers at my pond. What is so rare as a day in June, James Russell Lowell so clearly sang. The autumnal colors paint our way along our roads and across the hills. The slowly drifting snowflakes give promise of grinning snowmen. Hello out there, dear world. You disallow us monotony and bring us change, each quarter its own beauty and joy. And speaking of dogs, my poems are all cats. Let's see, which one shall I do first? These are both written this year. My cat, I was going to bring a picture of him. He's a great, big, fuzzy yellow guy. And after I lost my husband, he is my very best friend. It's called A Star is Born. Oh, my kitty. He was nearly tongue-tied, so lacking in courage, no fierce meow could he utter. There, in the corner, a big, troublesome acrobat, a loathsome, scrawny rat. It leaping across the room, then landing somewhere else, stationary as if zonked out. Aha, thought my feline, suddenly concentrating from afar. I'm gonna play a prank. Unfeeling and zealous, with total commitment, emulating a ferocious tiger, he pounced on the beast, snarling and growling, an unconditional victory for the day. And finally, similar in a way, The Lion's Roar. He's a warm, fuzzy kitty, my very best friend. Came, I'm told, from the jungles of a forest in Washington state. sleeps indoors upon my lap, gazes purring out the windows, chases toy mice, crawls into boxes, tells me just when is dinner time. But once, yes, out of character on a whim, catapulted himself over and off the deck, snuffled among weeds and trees, a new creature, a wild beast. Upon my almost desperate search, he, seeing a total stranger, unknown, let out a lion's roar and sent his mommy, scratched and wounded, straight to the ER. And he did. So thanks everybody for coming, and young man, you've seen how it works. You're going to come back and read some poems. So enjoy yourselves.
Just give me a moment, sorry. All right, this one's called Songs from an Empty Chair. It's about my dad. I write this now in loving memory of a man who has not yet left us. A man who still sings in his car, still makes chocolate pancakes every now and then, and still permits my naive philosophical ramblings on the nights when I can't remember why I'm supposed to keep going. A man who never seems to forget it himself. It wasn't so long ago that I began to remember him, as if he was already gone. I cannot recall the song, but I remember his voice gliding through my ears, almost shouting rather than singing. He filled the room with that wavering melody of his. It swept over the two-speaker sound system, covering the racks of CDs and jazz player statues with the rusting comfort of his tone. His rebellious hair reminded me of the branches of an awkwardly removed tree, and the mismatched stubble decorating his chin almost resembled a checkerboard, telling stories of the hundreds of chess games that we shared together every few weekends. As he leaned his head back against his cushioned armchair, I snapped out of my memory. My dad taught me how to be kind. He taught me how to love, to hurt, to be. But good teachers get sick. Good teachers, good people get stuck with the responsibility of caring for those who cannot empathize. What am I supposed to do? I refuse to simply accept it, run away with the warning that nothing can last forever, that all it is a memory. For a memory is only good as long as you can remember it. That chair is not empty now. I don't know when my dad will leave it, but I know how I will remember it. Once the throne of a loving father, an intelligent academic, a hard worker. Empty save for the memory. I've got one more I can share. It's called Acting in a Forgotten Play. My life is a play whose writer has forgotten their motivation. The lines of the script are blurred, somewhat resembling the bricks on the wall I sit beside now. The piercing eyes of the forgotten audience are indistinguishable from the cold wind biting my cheeks. Every prop has been left behind, meaningless in my intangible reality. I do sit here now against that wall, my eyes glazing over. My ears are assaulted by a cacophony of silence, and my thoughts replicate the noise. I stare into the sky, and yet it does not stare back. Instead, it averts its gaze. The dead late autumn trees of the forest across the parking lot bore the signs of human restraint, though now they are overgrown. They reach their arms into the lot, coming for me, the only actor left in the forgotten play. I slump back with a collapsed spine. The image before me, the lot, the forest, the unsteady stream of people trickling out of the library as it closes, none of it feels real. None of it is raw or unedited. It lacks depth as a story and is entirely comprised of telling, never showing. I do sit here now against that wall. I feel as if I have fallen into a dark abyss, filled with nothing but the melancholy songs of a deaf musician. His musical is over, and his body has failed his soul. Now the set is falling apart, and the actors have given up hope. Their performance was well received, but the show has been overrun and turned into a cliche. As I sit, my senses begin to fail me. There seem to be stars, a painting above me. The wall sits with me, bricks collapsing. I listen, and yet I do not hear. I look, and yet I do not see. I touch, and yet I do not feel. I act, and yet I do not live. Thank you. Oh, my name is Quinn Holtzheimer.